faithfully delivering value, interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're exploring the history of Japanese football, written by historian and Jinan University professor Fu Jinyu. What do you know about Japanese football? How do you view its remarkable transformation from underdog to powerhouse? Share your thoughts in the comments. Mention Japanese football, and older fans experience complex emotions. Against China, Japan once suffered repeated defeats. In 1987, China's men's team secured Olympic qualification by defeating Japan 2-0 away. When both nations launched professional leagues in the 1990s, their paths diverged dramatically. China's team stagnated, even regressing, heartbreaking countless fans. Yet Japanese football grew at an astonishing pace. Since 1998, Japan hasn't missed a World Cup, holding their own against elite teams.
Stars like Hideshi Nakata, Shinji Kagawa, and Takehiro Tomiyasu emerged continually.
In Qatar's World Cup, grouped with powerhouses Spain and Germany, Japan boldly aimed to advance from the group of death to quarterfinals. Indeed, their opening 2-1 comeback against Germany showcased their caliber. So, how did Japan rise from third tier to near elite, and what lessons does this hold for Chinese football? Rome wasn't built in a day. Answers lie in history. This book traces 130 plus years of Japanese football, distilling actionable insights. I'll explore Japan's football evolution through 3 phases: scholastic, corporate-league, and professional. First, the scholastic phase. Football arrived during the Meiji Restoration, alongside cricket and baseball, initially played by Western expatriates. Crucially, the early open ports of Yokohama and Kobe were pivotal. Expat-founded clubs, Yokohama Country and Athletic Club and Kobe Regatta and Athletic Club, emerged concurrently. Their interport matches began with rowing, later expanding into multi-sport competitions. Football was included too. In 1888, the 2 major clubs held a football match, where Kobe's victory gained FIFA recognition, marking Japan's first official football match and establishing 1888 as the inaugural year of Japanese football. Of course, early players were exclusively Western expatriates, predominantly British, the originators of modern football. But soon, Western-educated Japanese youth embraced the sport wholeheartedly. Let's focus on Tokyo Higher Normal School. Founded during the Meiji Restoration, it pioneered hiring foreign teachers and adopting Western pedagogy. The school emphasized both academic learning and physical training. Football built perseverance, fighting spirit, and teamwork, qualities the school championed. In 1996, football enthusiasts established THNS Football Club, Japan's first Japanese-founded team. To improve, THNS frequently competed against expatriate clubs in Yokohama and Kobe. Losing by 5 or 6 goals was routine, given the skill gap. Fortunately, Japanese players saw football as recreation. Winning was joyful, losing acceptable. Graduating THNS students became teachers, spreading football culture to schools nationwide.
Key figures in football hubs like Hiroshima, Okayama, and Hyogo all hailed from THNS, earning it the title Root of Japanese Football.
Thus, Japanese football began in schools. In 1913, to build character and collective spirit, Japan made football a mandatory subject from elementary through university, while railway expansion enabled regional school leagues. This accelerated school football's growth, with public support following swiftly. Nitobe Inazo, author of Bushido, educator and activist, praised footballers in newspapers. Even with broken noses and bruised foreheads, they persevered. Such courage perfectly embodied Bushido spirit. As school football flourished and East-West rivalry emerged, the East meant Kanto, east of central Honshu, including Tokyo and Yokohama, while Kansai, west meant Kansai, west including Kyoto and Kobe. Historically, culturally, and customarily distinct, they do everything separately. Football is no exception. Take university leagues. Divided into East and West conferences, each crowns its champion before their December showdown. the famed East-West University Championship.
Teams battle fiercely for regional pride, creating electrifying spectacles.
But historically, Waseda University stands out most prominently. It consistently represented Kanto to win championships. Even today, Waseda's football club remains prestigious, nurturing countless elite players. While Japan's football culture had taken root, what about its actual caliber? The Far Eastern Championship Games became the litmus test. Initiated by China, Japan, and the Philippines in the early 1900s, this regional event later included India, Vietnam, and Indonesia, featuring athletics, swimming, football, boxing, and more. Japan skipped football in the first two editions. In 1917, Tokyo hosted the third Far Eastern Championship Games. As Japan's first time hosting an international multi-sport event, they spared no effort. Thus, top players from university teams formed Japan's first ever national football squad. On May 9th, Japan lost 0-5 to China in their debut, then suffered a 2-15 humiliation against the Philippines, conceding 17 goals total, exposing a vast gap with Asia's elite teams. Subsequent editions brought more losses until 1927, when Japan narrowly beat the Philippines 2-1 for their first national team win, only to lose decisively 1-5 to China. In 1931, Japan's invasion of northeast China established the puppet state Manchukuo. When Japan demanded Manchukuo's inclusion in the Games, China refused, halting the event.
Oh.
Under international pressure, Japan withdrew its demand, allowing the 10th Games to resume in Manila.
There, China and Japan clashed. Fueled by righteous fury, China, led by Asia's ball king Li Huitang, defeated Japan to claim gold.
Japanese media sourly lamented, "Why must two stars share the same sky?" In 1936, both represented Asia at the Berlin Olympics. China faced football's originators, Britain, and exited in the first round. Japan got lucky, capitalizing on Sweden's underestimation to win, hailed as the Berlin Miracle, but reality soon struck back. Against Italy, they collapsed, conceding 10 unanswered goals. Given their Far Eastern Games and Olympic performances, Japanese football was clearly second tier in Asia, third tier globally, leaving Japan's football community deeply dissatisfied. They steeled themselves for redemption at Tokyo's 1940 Olympics, but the chance vanished. In 1937, Japan launched full-scale war against China, joined the Axis powers with Germany and Italy, and plunged deeper into militarism. Growing indifferent to the Olympics' peace ideals, Japan surrendered hosting rights, dooming the Tokyo Games. By late 1941, the Pacific War erupted, trapping Japan in endless conflict. Matches halted, players enlisted. Yukio Matsunaga, who scored against Sweden with 10.8-second 100 m speed, died at 28 on Guadalcanal. Countless players became militarism's cannon fodder, devastating Japanese football. Post-War I, football slowly revived as veterans returned, but school football's golden age never returned. Thus began Japanese football's second phase, the corporate-league phase, Jitsu Yodan, meaning enterprise in Japanese. Corporate-league football featured company-organized teams of employees. Emerging in the 1930s, giants like Nippon Kokan Steel and Heavy Machinery and Keihan Electric Railway formed rival teams. But employees juggled work and family, lacking student-level dedication. Companies treated football as casual recreation. Thus, corporate-league standards stayed below scholastic football. Post-war changed everything. The push came from government and corporations. First, the government. Amid ruins, Japan promoted football to boost morale for rebuilding, recognizing its power to unite and inspire. This doesn't mean the government directly managed football, but promoted it through corporations. For example, Japan reformed tax laws. Companies investing in sports facilities received tax exemptions, including maintenance costs, creating corporate incentives to build football stadiums. Corporate-wise, post-war Japanese firms emphasized family-like atmospheres, making employees feel they fought for their home. Football's team building appeal won corporate favor. Toyota, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and Yahata Steel all formed clubs, creating great excitement. The 1948 All Japan Corporate Football Championship launched, marking corporate football's formal arrival. This evolved into the Corporate Football League, gradually replacing school leagues as Japan's top level. Yet internationally, Japan's gap remained vast. In 1953, a German amateur team toured Japan undefeated, crushing the national team 9-0. In 1954, Sweden's league champion won all three matches, showcasing ground control and technical skills. Meanwhile, Japanese football ventured abroad. At the 1956 Melbourne Olympics, Japan barely qualified. Using knockout format, Japan's bad luck pitted them against host Australia first round, ending in elimination. In 1957, Japan toured China, facing the PLA team at Beijing's Qianlongtan Stadium. The PLA team dominated physically, technically, and tactically, 70% possession, winning 2-0. After this loss, Japan played in Shenyang, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and elsewhere. The tour, 7 matches, 2 wins against amateurs, 1 draw, 4 losses, always losing to professional teams. The tour's real significance wasn't sports. It initiated China-Japan civil exchanges, paving way for diplomatic normalization. After these trials, Japanese football saw a mini boom in the mid-1960s, making breakthroughs at Tokyo and Mexico Olympics. The 1964 Tokyo Olympics were Asia's first Olympics and Japan's chance to re-enter the international community with a new image. Japanese football hoped to contribute, so the JFA specially invited German coach Detmar Kramer to train the national team. This decision proved extremely wise. Kramer wasn't famous, but had solid fundamentals, unique tactical understanding, and German precision, perfect for Japan's foundational needs. Indeed, Kramer's advanced tactics amazed the Japanese. For example, basic skills like juggling, heading, and inside foot passing were poorly mastered. Kramer identified flawed techniques as the cause. After his corrections, players' skills improved dramatically. He progressed players from one-on-one drills to two-on-one, two-on-two, then group and team tactics. Kramer also led European training tours. Days featured match observations or friendlies. Nights involved tactical reviews with handouts for study. Under Kramer, Japan's level rose significantly. At Tokyo Olympics, Japan beat Argentina to reach quarterfinals, narrowly losing to Czechoslovakia. 4 years later in Mexico, they defeated Nigeria, drew Brazil and Spain, and beat host Mexico for bronze. This remains Asian football's best Olympic performance to date. Japan's progress was undeniable, but honestly, its gold standard was lacking. Olympics then only allowed amateurs, but Japan trained like professionals, nearly reaching pro level. Pros beating amateurs isn't surprising. The model was unsustainable. Tokyo provided home motivation. Mexico's bronze came from prior training, impossible to maintain for working family men. Japan couldn't adopt a state-run sports system. After Kramer left and veterans retired, Japan's level collapsed, losing Olympic and World Cup qualifiers, returning to international irrelevance. Still, the national team's poor performance didn't dampen public passion for football. School and corporate leagues thrived, with anime adding fuel to the fire. In April 1970, the anime Hot-Blooded Soccer premiered. It followed an Olympian leading a high school team to national glory, captivating teenagers. From 1980, the manga Captain Tsubasa sold 70+ million copies. Its anime adaptation dominated TV ratings for years. Its protagonist, Tsubasa Ozora, became an icon for 70s and 80s kids, with his skill and determination. Many fell in love with football through Hot-Blooded Soccer and Captain Tsubasa. Though the national team underperformed, football's popularity surged, laying groundwork for the professional era. Why shift from amateurism to professionalism? Multiple reasons, but 2 crushing defeats were crucial catalysts. First, China's 2-0 victory over Japan in Tokyo, 1987. China's second Olympic qualification in history. Japan's humiliating elimination before 50,000 home fans. Utter disgrace. Second, Japan finished last in the 1990s East Asian Cup, losing to China, Korea, and North Korea. These losses convinced reformers like Saburo Kawabuchi that change was urgent. Kawabuchi, a football legend, had trained under Kramer in his youth. He played in Tokyo Olympics, later joining JFA management. He knew professionalism was essential for progress. In August 1990, Kawabuchi formed a committee to transform corporate leagues into the J-League. After research, he modeled J-League on Germany's Bundesliga, setting strict standards, 3 being crucial. First, clubs must be locally rooted and corporatized. Like European football, each team needs strong community support. Unlike London, where one city can host 4 or 5 top-tier teams, Japan's corporate clubs fought only for company honor, lacking local ties. Without community support, how could they grow? Therefore, Saburo Kawabuchi mandated that J-League teams must designate a home city, strive for its citizens, and become the city's emblem. This required clubs to break from specific companies, gain independent legal status, self-manage, bear profits and losses, and corporatize, fully distancing from corporate league football. Kawabuchi also stipulated that J-League clubs cannot accept corporate naming rights. Names should combine the city with its symbolic element, leading to clubs like Cerezo Osaka, Kashima Antlers, and Yokohama F. Marinos. Now to the second standard: signing professional players and building a youth training system. Corporate teams often lacked fixed rosters, ranging from dozens to just a dozen players, sometimes struggling to even field 11. J-League clubs must sign at least 18 players to professional contracts, ensuring their daily training and life. Clubs also have responsibilities to recruit and train youths aged 12 to 18 from local communities, enabling youth system development and talent continuity. Moreover, this strengthens club community bonds, integrating football into urban life. Finally, the third standard: clubs must follow the Football Association's guidance. Of course, the association won't interfere with club management or training, focusing instead on system improvements, resource allocation, and strategic direction. Here, the JFA prioritizes supporting small and medium clubs to avoid J-League being monopolized by giants, like in the Premier League. Number 2, simultaneously, the JFA funds school football, hosting numerous youth tournaments annually. The tradition of school football, thriving since the Meiji Restoration, continues and feeds talent into the professional league. In hindsight, establishing these 3 standards laid the groundwork for Japanese football's rise. But beginnings are tough. The J-League launch faced opposition, with companies most upset about losing naming rights. Why pay if we can't get credit? Some companies like Nippon Kokan Yawata Steel withdrew. Even within the JFA, concerns arose, but Kawabuchi, now JFA chairman, declared firmly, Japanese football has nothing left to lose. Professionalization began. Fortunately, giants like Toyota, Nissan, and Mitsubishi supported professionalization, empowering Saburo Kawabuchi. 10 teams joined the inaugural J-League, known as the Original 10. For Japanese football, this was truly a founding moment. From this starting point, Japanese football's evolution divides into 3 phases: establishing style, falling into a trough, and steady rise. First, the style-establishing phase, 1993 to 1998. On May 15, 1993, the J-League launched with Kawasaki Verdy versus Yokohama Marinos. Marinos claiming the historic first win after 90 minutes. The match drew 60,000 fans, second only to Tokyo 1964 Olympics, with 32.4% TV ratings rivaling anime hit Chibi Maruko-Kan. Such figures revealed Japan's immense expectations for the J-League. Progress came step by step. Early J-League clubs signed global stars like Zico to elevate standards, a pivotal strategy. Zico, Brazilian legend, was hailed by Pele as his successor for his technical brilliance and all-round excellence. He represented Brazil in 3 World Cups, won South American Footballer of the Year 3 times, a glorious career. In his final playing years, Zico joined J-League's Kashima Antlers, transforming them from mediocrity to contenders over 3 seasons. Crucially, through Zico's mentorship, Antlers players vastly improved technically, tactically, and mentally.
Other teams followed, flooding J-League with Brazilian talent as Japan formally adopted Brazil's football philosophy.
Japan later integrated French or Spanish elements, but core principles remained, showcasing their focused perseverance. This persistence soon paid off. At 1996 Atlanta Olympics, Japan's U-23 team defeated Brazil 1-0 in Miami, the miracle of Miami, proving professionalization worked, though success proved winding. After this miracle, Japanese football plunged into a trough. This period lasted roughly 4 years, from 1997 to 2001. In July 1997, the Asian financial crisis swept through Southeast Asia, affecting Japan and South Korea. Japan's economy plummeted, the yen depreciated, companies bankrupted, impacting football too. The J-League suffered. Ticket sales and broadcast revenue shrunk. Sponsors withdrew. Poorly managed clubs cut investments. Team quality declined, accelerating fan loss. At its worst, average attendance fell below 3,800, a fraction of peak crowds.
In 1998, Japan's historic first World Cup qualification filled the nation with hope.
But Japan lost to Argentina, Croatia, and Jamaica, failing to advance. Domestic criticism erupted, questioning professionalization and the Brazil-inspired approach. Crucially, the JFA remained steadfast, insisting their direction was sound despite setbacks. Arsene Wenger observed, Japanese players had skill and energy. Losses stemmed from inexperience. Future remained bright. Indeed, even during the slump, talents like Kazuyoshi Miura emerged. Masashi Nakayama, Hidetoshi Nakata, and others. Nakata joined Italy's Serie A at 21, helping Roma win the league. At 25, he captained Japan, Asia's sole world-class star then. Japanese football was gathering strength. From 2002 onward, Japanese football emerged from the trough into steady ascent. The Korea-Japan World Cup's impact was undeniable. As first Asian host and first co-hosted World Cup, both nations achieved historic breakthroughs. South Korea, 2 wins, 1 draw in groups, lost 0-1 to Turkey in round of 16. South Korea miraculously defeated Italy, Portugal, and Spain to reach semifinals. But all 3 wins involved major controversies drawing heavy criticism. Japan, while less flashy, played solidly. Nakata and Junichi Inamoto's midfield, Koji Nakata's defense impressed globally. Japan's progress was evident. The World Cup revitalized Japan's football market. J-League attendance and ratings rebounded, often exceeding 20,000 spectators. Encouraged by this, sponsors returned. Clubs' finances improved, many setting revenue records. The JFA responded calmly, establishing stable operations and self-sustaining development policies to prevent clubs from overextending. In 2005, the JFA launched the J-League Stabilization Fund, collecting 5% of all clubs' revenue to support struggling or lower division teams. Since 2013, J-League requires clubs to pass strict audits in sporting level, facilities, organization, finances, and legal compliance for eligibility. Thus, J-League revenues grew steadily, with most clubs maintaining healthy operations. Japanese football's rise is built on sustainable foundations. Over 2 decades, increasing numbers of Japanese players joined European leagues. At 2010 and 2018 World Cups, Japan reached the round of 16, powered by overseas-based players. Qatar 2022 featured 20 overseas players, including Arsenal's Takehiro Tomiyasu, Brighton's Kaoru Mitoma, and Stuttgart captain Wataru Endo. Japan's comeback win against Germany wasn't luck, it was capability. Now ranked 18th globally, Asia's highest, Japan is considered near elite, capable of challenging top teams. Having heard Japan's football journey from weakness to strength, what are your thoughts?
What lessons might this hold for Chinese football?
Share your views in the comments. That concludes our interpretation of the history of Japanese football. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.